Yet another phone where the manufacturer is boasting of its durability. This time, it has a curved display. Meet the Infinix Hot 50 Pro Plus. Everyone is wondering how this phone is so slim. Maybe I should just bend it. They encouraged me to stress it, by the way, but I have trust issues. So this is the first time we're getting a curved display on an Infinix Hot phone, and they decided to go hard on the design. It is probably the slimmest looking phone with a curved display, and it's so light you wonder if there's anything substantial within. It weighs just 162 grams, but based on the spec sheet, this looks like a steal. They still managed to fit in a standard 5000 mAh battery. It is priced around $160, and in Naira you can get it for just under 280k for the base version with 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. There's a 256 gig storage option which costs a little more. It has an SD card slot for expansion, and you can also use it with dual SIM cards. I think this is the first time we are getting a Pro Plus version for the Hot series. There are so many Pro Plus phones these days. It is great to see that they've kept the pricing reasonable. The only other new curved display phone you can find around this price point, if I'm correct, is the Itel S23 Plus. Now that one might be more affordable, but it can't be compared because it's not even close. Now, Infinix did not do a proper launch event for this, but they've been promoting it a lot. As a matter of fact, every promotional video I've seen of this phone is testing its durability. Maybe we'll get to that part. Maybe. For the unboxing experience is what you would expect from an Infinix phone. All its accessories are present, and they were kind enough to include a glass screen protector so you don't have to go looking for one that fits. I like that they added it. The fact that they are promoting its durability does not mean you should not protect the most fragile part of the phone. More like two-factor authentication. You also get a pair of USB-C earphones because the headphone jack is absent from the Hot 50 Pro Plus. Design-wise, you'll agree that this looks solid. There is no criticizing that it is copied because there's no phone with this design as far as I can tell. I'm particularly referring to that camera array. I like that the implementation is not the conventional rings but is squared and it does not look ugly. There are 3 color options: black, gray, and purple. They all look good, but it seems like the purple will be the hardest to get. While the phone has a mostly curved build, the top and bottom frames are actually flat and it can stay upright. Do that carefully though. It's a slim phone and it can easily tip over with the slightest disturbance. I mean, it's so slim there's barely enough space on either side of the buttons. Aside from the Gorilla Glass 5 protected display on the Infinix Hot 50 Pro Plus, it has mostly a tough plastic build, and that is probably the reason that they are so confident about durability. The back is matte textured, does not attract smudges, and is nice to the touch. Now, while it comes with a transparent case that does not conceal its sleekness, I think you can confidently enjoy the feel of using it without one. It's supposed to be a tough one after all. Now, about that toughness. Ooh, that must have shut. Wow. Yeah, it's tough, but don't try this at home. Still use it with care like a normal person. The Hot 50 Pro Plus is IP54 certified for water and dust resistance. It will survive splashes and accidental drops in water, but it won't survive if you take it swimming. It needs a 7 rating for that. The display is a vibrant curved AMOLED with 1080p resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. It gets bright up to 1300 nits peak. Using it outdoors will not be a problem. Fluidity within the UI will also not be a problem thanks to the high refresh rate. It is 6.78 inches in size, so it's a tall one. Now, in terms of your everyday use case, the display responds just fine even when your fingers are wet or greasy. Infinix calls it wet or greasy touch. The Infinix Hot 50 Pro Plus uses an optical fingerprint scanner which is responsive. I believe this is also the first time we're getting an AMOLED on the Hot series. It has this cool always on display feature called landscape display. You'll find that in the always on display settings. You can choose different styles for how it displays when you have the phone plugged in and placed in landscape mode. More like standby mode on the iPhones. It only shows when you have the phone plugged in. On media consumption, we have JBL tuned stereo speakers which provide good sound quality even at loud volumes. So here's where we are. The Hot 50 Pro Plus is tough, it's slim, it looks good, and has a nice display. But what about software? What about performance and all the other essentials? Well, Infinix is boasting of 5 years fluency. That is a new phrase phone manufacturers started using for some reason. I actually wish it was the proper 5 years software support. So they are basically saying it will remain lag-free after a few years of use. Well, time will tell. It will get software updates though, and if their update policy is anything to go by, it is 2 major upgrades at most. I don't think anything was officially promised, but I saw a few reviews that said they committed to 1. The Hot 50 Pro Plus is running on Android 14 and the highly customizable XOS 14.5, and it is now packed with a couple of AI features which we're going to explore shortly. XOS is still XOS, if you know what I mean. I like the added customization features, but the bloatware is still there. There are these hot apps and hot games folder I saw on the home screen that seems to appear out of nowhere and with app recommendations that then take you to the Palm Store. You can easily disable them when you tap and hold the folder, then go to settings. I noticed that if you're on Wi-Fi most of the time, you likely won't get any notifications from the pre-installed applications, but when on mobile data, you will get some from apps like Genie X. You can uninstall or disable these apps for a cleaner experience if you don't use them. Bloatware aside, the software experience is smooth and lag-free. Now for its AI features, it is one of the very few phones that offers some AI integration at a budget level. The voice assistant Folax is powered by ChatGPT and it's a better improved version than what we've seen on their previous phones. It is current, and with the right permissions, it can interact with what you have on your screen. It can summarize a web page on request. That's pretty functional. And in the gallery app, you get AI eraser feature to remove little distraction from images. You can also isolate a subject from the background by simply tapping and holding on the image. In the Notes app, you get generative AI, which can convert your sketches to good-looking images, and I'd say it does a pretty good job. The only other budget phone you will get this much AI features is Tecno. It is nice to see we don't have to pay premium to get proper AI integration, and I dare say on a similar level as most of the flagships. Now, the Infinix Hot 50 Pro Plus supports 4.5G thanks to the new Helio G100 processor. That brings faster internet speeds compared to the regular 4G. Speaking of the processor, while it might not be a significant boost from the G99 in terms of raw performance, the MediaTek Helio G100 is a much needed refresh which brings support for better display and camera technology, also better internet speeds with that 4.5G as mentioned earlier. It is perfectly capable of handling your average needs from a smartphone, including some heavy usage and low to medium graphics gaming. You can play high graphics titles, and its only weakness will be the lack of high graphics options, as most can only be played at medium graphics settings. And that's pretty much the most you can expect for this budget category. With games like Warzone Mobile, the default setting for the visual quality is low, but you can set everything else to high and still get mostly consistent and lag-free gameplay. You might want to keep them mostly at medium for a better experience though. PUBG Mobile can be played at HD graphics and high frame rate. You can play at ultra frame rate when the graphics is set to balanced or smooth. I'm impressed with the efficiency of the cooling system on a device as slim as this. Infinix says it has graphite cooling. My game sessions were occasional and no longer than 2 hours on a stretch on each game session I had, but the device never got abnormally hot in those sessions. For the casual gamer or anyone who wants to game seriously but on a budget, this will hold up quite well. The battery here is 5000 mAh. That makes you wonder what could be the trade-offs making it this slim. At the moment, I've not noticed any major features missing. The battery is optimized and it lasts well enough to give you up to 7 hours of screen on time, and sometimes even more depending on how you use your phone. It charges at 33 watts. For its cameras, we have a 50 megapixel main camera and 2 megapixel depth sensor. The third lens is unspecified as usual, probably not that useful. On the selfie camera, we get 13 megapixels. Now, the rear camera produces good results when used right and in the proper lighting conditions. It does great with colors and has good dynamic range, but it sometimes lacks consistency and can produce strange results if you're not patient. This is of course not a regular occurrence because 8 out of 10 times it will get the shot right. The selfie camera does a fine job and I have no complaints here, just stick to proper lighting. The Hot 50 Pro Plus can record videos at a max 2K at 30 frames per second. There is no optical image stabilization, but you can get good software stabilization at 1080p. The Infinix Hot 50 Pro Plus is one of those devices that proves how much better budget phones have gotten, thanks to the premium look and feel while being fairly priced. The only areas I think it could have been better is the software update commitment and some improvements to the image processing. They got it right with the performance, the design, and the build quality. Now we can complain about lack of 5G support, but I think we can all agree you can't have that with a curved display and all the features here and still expect it to be priced below 300k. I think it's great value for money. For those wondering if it's an upgrade from the predecessor, I believe the Hot 30 Pro, yes it is in pretty much every way. And if you are wondering how it compares to the Infinix Note 40 Pro, I'd say they have similar performance, but the Note 40 Pro has better camera specifications. But since the Hot 50 Pro Plus is more affordable, I'd say it offers more, or should I say better value for money. And that's all from me. On to the next.